Hey everybody, happy Wednesday evening tutorial stream. How's everybody doing wherever you are at this evening? I hope everyone had a great Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday and has had a solid Wednesday thus far, except for Lori who sprained her ankle, which absolutely sucks. Being an ex-dancer, I've definitely had my share of sprained ankles in my time, and 0 stars, do not recommend. So yeah, you can take it from me. Just you don't need to try for yourself. I'm happy to be your authoritative person on that. If that sprained anything sucks. I mean, to be fair, if I had to choose, I would rather have a sprained whatever than a broken whatever. But still, all in all, definitely not on the list of fun things to do and see. But at least we're all here, so it's lovely to see each and every one of your awesome faces, handles out there. I started that phrase and realized that was going nowhere sensible at all. But hey, we're here, it's Wednesday, and we're going to do a fun tutorial. This is actually a seed bead tutorial. And I think we have done one similar to this on stream before, so this may or may not be new to all of you, but we're doing circular brick stitch today. So this is actually a legitimate seed bead stitch. Of course it is on a seed bead stitch, which means it definitely involves things that are not seed beads, and definitely involves not a whole lot of stitch work. So this is abbreviated brick stitch. I mean, the stitch is fine and you can make this as intricate as you want, but of course, since I am not really by nature a seed beader, I just don't have the patience for that level of intricacy and of time invested. This is usually my take on seed bead work, which is, let's take your seed bead work, let's combine it with some other things and, make a fun project that I can make in one sitting as opposed to something that takes multiple sittings. So much respect for all of the people who do all the amazingly intricate projects that take, days and weeks and months and years to complete. Like, so amazing, such fantastic artisans. That's just not me. And I know that it's not a lot of, there are a lot of people out there who it's not them either. So I always enjoy kind of taking seed bead stitches and showing you how to do them in a slightly, more abbreviated fashion. So let's talk tools and supplies for this evening's tutorial. All right, supplies is the big one. Tools, you literally need, okay, I keep moving my camera and it keeps, like, some little gremlin keeps, oh, that's why every time I bump that, it moves back. Whoa, that's just not cool and must stop. So tools and supplies. You're going to need a center bead, and anything that is round or oval is going to work. I did originally try to prototype this on something that had corners, and it did not work well for me at all. Okay, I did not have luck doing this. I tried a teardrop, so something round or oval is going to be your best bet for this project. The corners were just awkward, really awkward, and with this size of beads, if I'd been using smaller beads, probably would have worked better, but of course I wasn't. So I'm looking for, I can't decide, to tie my camera to my light so that it stops just shifting over every time I hit my stool with my leg. Right, hopefully that will stop the camera drift.
You should remove your leg.
I should remove my leg. Okay, like amputate it or just remove it from the scenario? It doesn't just screw off.
Oh,
now,
well,
does yours?
Maybe.
Interesting. Well,
I wish
I
sometimes.
mean, oh, that's totally fair. Okay, so in addition to your center bead, you're going to need some size 6 seed beads. Now, your more traditional size for brick stitch would be size 11 seed beads, which are smaller. So if you just want a size comparison, the top one is size 11, a small one is size 6. We're going to use a few of the size 11s, but not very many. We're just going to use those on the very bottom as our kind of finishing beads for our little crystal fringe. So you're going to need size 6 seed beads, and I'm using 2 different colors. Tonight you can actually use as many different colors of these as you want. And then, like I said, some size 11 seed beads. You really don't need very many. I mean, you don't need a whole bag. If you just have like half a dozen or a dozen rattling around at the bottom of a tube, this is a perfect project to use them on. You're going to need some crystal rondelles in 2 sizes. These are 4mm crystal rondelles. That's going to be for our little bottom fringe here. And then I've got some 8mm crystal rondelles and that's going to be for this layer right here. Now, how many of all of these beads you're going to need really depends on how big your center bead is. Okay, so the bigger your center bead is, the more beads it's going to take to go around it. So that's why I'm not giving you an exact number of beads. Now, if you want to know how many beads I used for this particular project, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, I've got 11 of the 8mm crystals. I've got 14 of the 4mm crystals, 14 of the size 11 seed beads, and then plus about a dozen more to make my little loop, my little hanging loop here at the top. And then of the size 6 seed beads, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 28, 32. I've got about 60 of those. It's a couple beads less than that, so approximately 60. And the size of my centerpiece bead in this case is about 12 millimeters long by about 8 millimeters wide. So that's all of the lowdown on what I used for this particular prototype. But once again, it's all going to depend on the size of your center bead. And then you're going to need some thread. I'm using my Fireline 6 pound, which is pretty standard. And then as far as tools go, all you're going to need is a size 10 beading needle, which as far as beading needles go is on the larger side, even though as far as needles in general go, it's fairly tiny. But size 10 is going to work well for this project, and then you're going to need a sharp thread snips because your Fireline is a very difficult to cut, and it actually will. I have been having terrible allergy cough today, so I'm really trying not to have a heinous coughing fit on the air. We shall see how well this works for me tonight. If all of a sudden I go to Ziggy and mute, it's because I'm hacking my lungs up because something allergic is happening in Dallas. Yes. I mean, something allergic is always happening in Dallas, to be fair.
Place your bets now, which of us has the coughing fit first.
Right,
actually.
Exactly. That's true. If I suddenly go to mute and Ziggy, it might be Heather who's having a terrible coughing fit,
we
not
can blame
me.
It on me either way.
It's 50-50 at this point. So I'm going to start with my Fireline, and I'm going to cut myself a decent sized piece of my Fireline. Hey, Albie Clay, welcome to the Beading Dreams stream. You arrived just in time for talk of allergies in Dallas. Fun times. All right, so I've got my Fireline, which is my beading thread that I'm going to be using for my project tonight, and I've cut myself a fairly large piece of it. All right, I cut myself what I call a wingspan, which for me is about 5 feet because I'm just a little over. Yay! Awesome. Well, that's some good timing. Very good timing. So yeah, so this is what I was kind of rambling about at the beginning of the stream is that, so I am not by nature a seed beater. Like, I just don't have the patience for that kind of intricate work. So, but I love textiles, I love texture, and I love seed beating techniques. So this is kind of a take on a seed beating technique that's a little bit simplified, so that it's a one sitting project. That's what I would say for the most part about myself, is I'm a one sitting. Is the Fireline thermal? I have no idea. Microfused? I don't know what thermal means. I wish I did. I'm so sorry. So this is the one that I use. So microfused braided bead thread, and of course, anybody who looks really closely at a spool of Fireline will notice that there's a fish on there, and that's because this actually is a Berkeley product. It actually was originally used for fishing, and it's still used for fishing. Like if you go to Bass Pro Shop and go to the fishing line section, there is a crap ton of Fireline in different thicknesses, and also they do have a couple of different colors. They don't have a lot of different colors. The ones we see in the beading world are this color, which is called smoke, and then the white color, which is called crystal, but I think they also have like a day glow yellow color. I could be making that up.
That sounds right. So you can see it.
Right. There's some efficacy for fishing in there. Not being a fisher person, I know exactly zero about fishing, except for the fact that you can use Fireline for it. I think I fished twice when I was a kid, and that's about it. So
much.
I know. Thermally bonded. Yes. Okay, cool. I was like, is it thermally conductive? Like, I'm confused by this product. I'm intrigued, but confused. Yes, that is exactly. And so the reason that Fireline has kind of become, I promise I'll start the project soon, y'all. The reason that Fireline has kind of become the go-to thread in the beading community is it's extremely, extremely strong, and it's very resistant to being cut while still being very, very thin. So prior to Fireline kind of, bursting onto the scene, most of us used NYMO, or some variation thereof, which is a multi-filament nylon thread, which is great. It's very thin, it's very flexible, but it's very prone to being cut, especially by sparkly crystals, which a lot of us beaders really enjoy the sparkly crystals. So the Fireline is much more resistant to being cut. So generally speaking, if you're doing some sort of, hey Amy, if you're doing some sort of project where you need or want to use crystals, the Fireline is a good choice. All right, so here we go with the threading of the needle. So this is oftentimes the hardest part in any seed beading project. This is a size 10 beading needle. You can see the eye right there. So I'm just going to pop my Fireline right into that eye, like so. And I want to leave myself a decent sized tail because I don't want to have to work with so very much thread, but I also want to make sure that I don't have my tail get caught in my weaving, because then I'm going to go through my thread so quickly, which you don't want. Question from Albie Clay, is monofilament illusion cord a good substitute? So from a strength perspective, monofilament is great. From a durability perspective, it's kind of crap. The thing about monofilament is it has a lifespan, and how long it's going to last kind of depends on the monofilament itself, plus whether it's exposed to a lot of sunlight, UV rays, etc. But what happens with monofilament, unfortunately, is at some point in its lifespan, and this may be like 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, it may be 30 years down the line. I've seen monofilament necklaces and projects of all ages, but what's going to happen at some point with your monofilament is it's just going to abruptly get brittle, like just like that, and then all of a sudden it's going to start breaking and falling apart. So if for the short term, monofilament is good, but for any project that you're going to put a lot of time and effort into, the Fireline's a better choice. Okay, so I'm going to start with my needle and and also ASO did mention, so I am going to, I'm going to start this and then I'm going to do the shameless self-promotion. So I'm going to take my needle through my center bead, and I'm going to pull almost all the way to the end of my thread. All right, I'm leaving a couple, 3-4 inches, because I'm going to have to tie that off at the end, but I don't need to waste a whole lot of thread there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through the bead the same way. So what happens when I pull this tight is I get a piece of thread around the outside of my bead, and I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to make 2 threads on this side of my bead and then 2 threads on the other side. So yes, now to the shameless self-promotion portion of the stream. So it is a Wednesday night. That means it's a live sale night. So once I'm done with this project around 7:30 p.m. Central Time, maybe a little bit later, because I have a feeling that this stream's going to run a little over because, oh my God, Windows update. And then, hi, Sophia. Sophia's here, yay, in her new abode in far northern Wisconsin. And with her new job, super exciting. But yeah, Windows update spawned a whole bunch of technical difficulties with my broadcasting software. So that's why I was late getting online, and of course, you know me, I'm not particularly punctual to begin with, so you add in technical difficulties to the mix, and it's just like a whole lot of WTF going on. But so, whenever I'm done with this tutorial stream, about 30 minutes after that, we are going to have a live merchandise sale. I have some fun things for you all this evening, some of which I left over there, but I have some cool, I've got some cool seed beads. Do you think we could handle doing some seed beads tonight,
Yes.
Aldi Clay? All right, so we're going to do some seed beads, some size 6s, and maybe a few size 11s, but probably mostly size 6s. We're going to be doing some gemstone bead strands, and then we've got some cool wooden beads as well for y'all tonight. So that's going to commence at about 7:30, 7:45 Central Time. Once again, it's about 30 minutes after I finish the tutorial, because Heather and I have to close the store and get the things ready for the sale. So usually, regardless of how much we try to hurry scurry, it always ends up being 30 minutes after or more. All right, so now that I've got my starters, I'm going to start my brick stitch. So I'm starting with my kind of bronzy color. And again, you can totally 100% do this all in size 11 seed beads instead of size 6s. It's just that if I did this in size 11, this would be a much longer tutorial stream than we typically do. So I'm doing 6s, but the technique is the same in size 11s, just takes longer because it takes more beads to make a round. So I'm going to pick up one of my size 6, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where is the focal distance of my camera. So take one size 6 seed beads, that's where it is, seed bead, singular, and then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to put it underneath both of my threads. Come on, both of my threads. Okay, underneath both of my threads, like so. Okay, light. Don't be a pain. There, hopefully that's a little bit more. Shed some light on the matter. I feel like I want to zoom that in more for you. See, this is the other reason my streams often run long, is I am a picky pants.
Not that. Anything but that.
Right? Let's see. Zoom. There. Yay. Okay, now you can see that a little bit better. All right, so so I've got my bead on my needle, and then that's the pointy part of my needle, so I put that underneath my 2 starter threads, and remember I got 2 on this side and 2 on this side, and then I'm just going to pull all the way through with my thread. So I'm just going to pull the whole thing so that my bead is nestling right up against my center bead, and then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go back up through that size 6 seed bead, and I'm going to pull through, and what's going to happen when I pull this tight is it's going to lay it down against my starter thread. And so this is where the term for this weave comes from, brick stitch, is because the way that the beads lay, they lay horizontally like a brick wall. So now we're going to do this again. I'm going to pick up another bead, like so. I'm going to go underneath my 2 starters, and since this is my foundation row, you know, it doesn't really matter where you go underneath, because obviously I can slide my needle wherever. You just want to make sure that you are progressing. And actually, so as a righty, I tend to progress actually counterclockwise around my piece. You can progress clockwise as well. It doesn't really matter. You just have to remain consistent. So I've got that under there, and then I'm going to once again take my needle. And so the one thing that can be a little tricky is, okay, which direction do I put my needle in? And you can pretty easily determine that by the fact that there's this thread that's kind of hopping between these 2 beads. So you want to go with your needle, if you can pick your needle up in your hand, you want to go not down the same direction that it's hopping, you want to go the opposite direction. So you want to go, oh, for goodness sakes, come on. All right, so you want to go here, like so, and then pull it all the way through. And once again, when you pull it tight, that bead should lay down like a little brick, and then that string that's hopping in between them should be pretty taut. So now we're just going to repeat this all the way around our center bead. So I've got my bead on, going under my starter, And sorry, this is just this being difficult because I'm trying to do it by looking at the camera and not actually looking at the bead. Then up through, pull, and like so, and then repeat. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I've gone all the way around my foundation bead. So I'm just going to keep adding beads in this brick-like pattern. And once again, so you're going to add a bead to your needle, go under your foundation threads, pull all the way through, and then go back up through that bead, like so, and pull. Ooh, those sound albiclay like super duos, and that is not actually a bead that we carry. They're really cool, but we just carry the basic seed beads, so pretty much size 6s and 11s in the chuck. So once I get to my hole, I'm just gonna hop right over it, and my next under is gonna be, come back here, there. So I'm gonna put on a bead, and then I'm gonna go under my foundation row like so, and again pull through, and then go back up through that bead, pull everything tight, and there we go. So I'm going to continue on until I've gone all the way around this foundation bead. So for anybody who just, of course, for anybody who just joined us, welcome to the Beading Dream Stream. We are doing a seed beading project tonight. We are working on the brick stitch pendant. We are going to wind up abbreviating a little bit just because of time, but hopefully we'll get you through a good overview of all of the techniques involved in this pendant. Now I'm using size 6 seed beads to execute my pendant tonight. This technique is more often done in size 11 seed beads or even smaller. There's no reason you can't use smaller seed beads to execute the pendant that I'm showing you tonight. It just takes a whole lot longer. And since I'm trying to make this a reasonable length stream, plus we have a live merchandise sale starting at 7:30, I'm using the size 6s, but you can really use whatever size you want. So what I've done so far is I've got my starter bead, which is this oval shaped crystal, and I took my, which I'm throwing apparently, I took my fire line thread and I went through the hole in the center and around twice on each side to make this foundation here. And then I'm just making my first row of brick stitch, and each brick is a bead, and each brick consists of putting a bead on my needle and going underneath both of those foundation threads, pulling all the way through, and then going back up through that bead with your needle. And once you pull tight, your bead should sit just like a little brick, so it should sit with the hole actually vertical instead of horizontal. So that's one way that you can actually differentiate peyote stitch from brick stitch. Is in peyote stitch the holes of the beads are all horizontal, and in brick stitch the holes are vertical. Alright, so I'm to my last bead where I'm going to go ahead and connect these. So when you're connecting the end of your circle, this is what to do. I got my bead on my needle. I'm going to go underneath my foundation, and actually I'm going to go underneath the foundation on this side. I think that's going to be better. And yes, I do need to take off my glasses in order to see that because I'm old. I'm turning older this month, y'all. My birthday is on Friday the 23rd, where I will turn a number that starts with 4 and does not end with 0. So I've got my needle under there. I'm going to pull my thread again all the way through, and then I'm going to go up through that bead, pull again. And what you're going to have, sorry, I like to put my needle, but I tend to put my needle in my mouth. So what you're going to have at this point is this, which is a little awkward looking. So what I want to do is I need to link this bead here to my beginning bead. So I'm just going to go down through. That was the very first bead in my foundation row. Also, I just dropped my needle, so that's amazing. Really? Yay! Birthday twinsies! Albie, Clay, and I are birthday twins. That's awesome. Go Leos. Go Leos, cusp of Cancer. Also, yes, Heather's niece, her middle niece, is also our birthday triplet. So we are birthday triplets. Okay, so what I did was I went down through my beginning bead and then back up through the bead that I just put on. And so what that's going to do when I pull it is it's going to do two things. Number one, it's going to set me up to now do my next row, which is going to be the foundation for that row is going to be all of these beads, or sorry, not all these, all the threads. See the threads that are going between these beads. Okay, that's going to be the foundation for my second row. And then that also helped to kind of put this bead down and make it a little bit more normal looking. Okay, so now I'm going to stitch a second row of seed beads around this.
I made a pretty tray.
She did. Heather made a pretty tray. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so
I made two pretty trays, really.
well, yay. Awesome. Yay for pretty seed bead trays. Okay, so this is basically the same thing. I'm going to take a bead, put it on my needle, and then I'm going to go to the first spanning thread, which sometimes you have to kind of hold that tight and just go underneath that thread, pull all the way through, and then go up through that second row bead. And wham bam. Now it's going to sit like a brick on top of these two beads, and it's going to, the way that this works is the beads are kind of going to sit in between, but since this circle or oval as it were is bigger than my previous one, I'm going to have to do an increase. So we're going to go and do that in a minute. So for now I'm going to do every, come on, there we go. Every little span is going to be here. True though, I mean, one would almost be like, okay, well, if you count back 9 months from July 23rd, like what was everybody doing? But I was actually 2 weeks late. I was supposed to be born at the beginning of July instead of the early end of July.
You arrived late?
I arrived late. I know, it's shocking. Everyone on stream be shocked that from...
You've been artistic since the beginning.
Exactly. From my birth, I've been late. And that is just... Actually, next time my mother grouses at me for being late, I'm totally bringing that up.
Yes.
Because I am perpetually in my life always 10 to 15 minutes late. Doesn't matter.
Really optimistic about what you could get done.
It is. That is absolutely my problem. Is I'm always trying to do one too many things before I get out the door to wherever I'm going. But that's pretty hilarious. Okay, so all right. So now I'm getting to the point where okay. So if I just take a look at this, I just did this one here. The next one will be over here. That seems like too far for me. It seems like if I do that, I'm going to have a gap. So this is where I'm going to add my increase. So I'm going to go under, I have a bead on here, I'm going to go under the same one and then go back up. So when I'm doing my increases with my brick stitch, I don't do so much of a mathematical formula as more just playing it by ear and being like, okay, well, it seems like I need an increase here, so I'm going to do an increase. Now, all of your amazing seed bead artisans who do fantabulously, you know, complex things, you know, most of them work off of patterns and formulas and things. So I am definitely not trying to represent myself as a super advanced seed beader here. But with a project that's this simple, you know, you can kind of play it by ear. So I'm still at this point like, okay, I think I can go over there and that'll be fine. But I think on my next one I'm going to have to do another increase. And you can also play with your frequency of increases, because if you increase, you know, what would be considered too much, you can actually get like a ruffly effect Though I'm not going to lie, that works better with size 11s than it does with size 6s. Okay, so I'm going to increase here. So I'm going to put on a bead, and I'm going to go under the same thread that I just went under, pull through, and then go back up. All right, and then I'm just going to go all the way around until I have completed that round. And for the sake of time, since this is exactly what I've been doing, I'm actually going to bring it in front of me because it's easier for my almost 42-year-old eyes to see at this angle than when I have it under the camera. Also interesting, and I know I've told the stream this before, so I was having a conversation a couple of weeks ago, literally could not remember how old I was going to be on the 23rd of July, mostly because I think last year was kind of the year that wasn't, so I didn't really properly celebrate my birthday last year, and so I was like, wait, am I going to be 41 or am I going to be 42? And I was talking to my therapist, and I was like, okay, I promise I'm not crazy just because I can't, remember how old I am. And she just laughed.
Did she say, well, you're not crazy because of that?
She did not say that.
That would be a poor therapist.
No, I think that would have been actually peak therapist right there. Oh my gosh, that would have been hilarious. But yes, I did finally figure out how old I actually am going to be. Which is, it's a good thing to know.
Yes.
People ask, and it does, sometimes come off as a little bit dingy when you can't remember your own age.
I don't know, what day is today?
Oh dear, what have I done? Okay, so I did a thing and I have no idea what I did. But it was bad. Like whatever it was, I have this. Okay, this is not good brick stitch. Okay, this is not what we want. So when you have a screw up like this, the best way to fix it is to take your needle off and to just start removing beads until you get back to something that looks like you think it should look. So I'm going to pull off that bead. And okay, and so now I'm back to normal. So I think what happened is I picked the wrong thread to go for my very last bead. I picked the wrong thread to use as an anchor. So I'm going to go ahead and rethread my needle, put that last bead on, and then we're going to do the big honkin' crystal row. So why do I like to use things like big honking crystals in my brick stitch project? Because it's fast and easy. That is exactly why. It gives you volume with very little effort. Kind of something I wish I could, do with my hair. Okay, so let me, actually, hold on. I should keep those off. Okay, I kind of see what I did that screwed that up. So when you're doing your very last bead on a row, you have this thread, which is coming down. So this is the thread where you actually bumped up to your next row. And then you have the thread that you're actually supposed to be anchoring under. I went under the wrong one, is the problem. I think you're actually significantly closer to Dr. Cather in age than you are to Wonder and Magic.
Oh, absolutely. But his brain just doesn't store my age.
Got it. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to go down through the first bead in this row, and then up through the last bead in this row.
Yeah, I don't think I'm significantly younger than he is.
Well, but I have a whole lot of people who are mentally frozen in my head at a particular age, which they definitely are not anymore.
Yeah. Like my baby brother, who's 7 and has 3 kids.
Okay, well, mine aren't quite that extreme, but my friend Tony is 42. She will always be the answer, even though she hasn't been the answer for a solid 18 years now, I think. And my friend Marita Beth will also always be the answer, even though she hasn't been the answer for a solid 20 years. And hey, this year I get to be the answer, so maybe I'll just stay the answer forever. Okay, so now we're going to add the crystals.
Is the answer.
Right? All right, so it's exactly the same, except we get to skip sections, because this is why I love this. Okay, so I've got my crystal on there, and I'm going to start at the beginning. A very good place to start. I'm going to put my needle under there. It's going to be a fun sale tonight because I'm already punchy and it's only $6.59. And then back up. Whee! Right? And pull, and so there we go. We have one
now strap in for later.
Gigantic strap in. Don't necessarily strap on.
That's not our business.
Completely different. Once again, that's for whenever we jump over to OnlyFans. Okay, so now I'm going to put on another crystal. But if I go here, in this very next thread, that's way too close. So I'm going to go to the next one. So at this point, I'm adding beads to my row, but I'm getting to skip every other, every other one. Woohoo! Pimping out center beads. That's totally what we're doing.
Yes, pimping out is definitely how we need to phrase it right now.
Absolutely. Okay, and so now I've got another crystal on there. So once again, I'm going to skip what was that? The next one, and I'm going to go to the one after that. And it was a large clunk from outside. That's always an exciting thing to hear when you're two women alone in the store after hours. I mean, it was significantly quieter than when somebody drove through the building. So
yes, that wasn't what happened.
There's that. Maybe it was just a really loud car door. So I'm just adding these on. Again, just skipping every other anchor point. So I'm just, and you don't have to do this with 8mm crystals. The 8mm crystals, I'm not going to lie, are a little extreme. You could 100% do this with 6mm crystals as well. I just don't happen to have any right now in the store. I've got a whole lot of 10, 12, and 8mm crystals, and then 4mm crystals, and absolutely 0 6mm. All right, so once again, I'm just skipping, going under every other one, like so, until I've gone all the way around. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing that till I've gone all the way around this round, and then I'm going to do one more round of my seed beads, and then we're going to do our little fringe on the bottom. And by fringe, I mean little 4mm crystal accent. It's definitely not properly a fringe, but it could be. You could absolutely finish this out with a fringe if you were so inclined. So that's the cool thing about this, is you can actually make this as complicated or as simple as you like. Also, apparently, if you're me, you're gonna be drowning in your own snot while you do this project. So that's exciting. Got it. Well, once again, still preferable to
running over the sign.
Running over the sign and driving into the building. Which, for anybody who's not up on the various random things that tend to happen at Beading Dreams, that is actually something that did happen a couple of months ago. Not during the stream, but during business hours, somebody did actually drive through the front facade of the business next door to us. It was exciting in the way that you don't want. Could I do a tutorial on adding fringe? Well, it's a really good time to request that, because tomorrow is my day where I'm going to do all my samples for next week. So I can definitely work on a brick stitch with fringe tutorial. Absolutely. Okay, so now I'm adding another row of my seed beads, and so now I've got the opposite thing, is I'm probably going to be adding, because these runs are really long, So I'm probably going to be adding 2, maybe 3 seed beads onto each one of these, because this is another situation where I'm going to have to do some increases. So again, seed bead on, underneath, like so, and then up. Okay, so Albie Clay, question. So, okay, so now I'm going to continue this all the way around. So Albie Clay, question. So you want to start adding seed bead fringe to your polymer clay earrings. Awesome. So how do you want to do that? Are you going to like perforate the bottom of your polymer clay so that you have kind of a base already? What are you thinking? If you have thoughts, are you gonna oh, for goodness sakes, no, nobody wants to become famous. Go away. Anyway, so how are you thinking you want to attach that fringe to the bottom? Thank you, Sophia. I know, I swear to God, famous is the only Sophia bonk. Love it. Way to whack the mole, Sophia. But I really do think famous is the only word that I've got on the auto mod. And so how did that get through? Okay, drilling holes in the bottom. Okay, cool. That gives me thoughts. Thank you. All right, so seed bead fringe. I'll probably do it on the bottom of a metal piece just because I'm not really a polymer clay artist. I'm more of a metal worker, but the principle should remain the same. So seed bead fringe on earring components. Also, I'll probably, just because of time, do a pendant component just because I have a tendency to be late and things. But yeah, so that will definitely, Albie Clay, be either, yay, it'll either be Wednesday night or Saturday night, because torch, we always do a torch tutorial on Thursday nights at 6, and then Thursday afternoons is always a simple, quick and easy project, which that's going to be a little too complicated for that. So Wednesdays and Saturdays are the nights where we do more complicated projects that do not involve fire. So if there's a night that's better for you, let me know next week. Okay, so I'm just kind of speed stitching at this point. A row of seed beads around, the outside. Yes, and I will follow you as well when I am not streaming. But yes, we love to support other artists on the stock. I don't think it's stalking I don't know, is it stalking if I like it? I don't think it's stalking if I like it. I think it's something else. No, Albie Clay, it can't be Thursday night because Thursday night's a torch. So Wednesday or Saturday. Let me know. Sorry, I was rambling a bit and was therefore probably confusing because that happens when I ramble. Also, when I'm trying to talk and stitch and read at the same time, that's also a thing. Also, then weird stuff like, what did I just go that way. Have you ever been doing your work and been like, oh crap, what did I just do and how do I fix it? Ta-da. Okay, so my next thing is going to be to put on that little accent on the bottom, and I'm going to make that one very little since I'm running so far overtime. So you can take that accent little bit with the crystals that I'm about to do, and which you can see on the project photo. I'm talking about that little bit at the bottom that's got the 4mm crystals. You can do that for oh, I'm still not being clear. I hate this. It has to be Wednesday or Saturday of next week because every Thursday we do a torch project and your project would not be a torch project. Can you do Wednesday or Saturday of next week? Because if you can't, then I'll think about rearranging, but I would prefer to do the fringe tutorial Wednesday or Saturday of next week, because Thursday is, like I said, a torch tutorial, usually. Mostly because I like alliteration. It's really the only reason. So I'm sorry. Once again, I'm talking and stitching and rambling and not being Wednesday. Woot! Yes. Love it. No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about 17 different things and also stitching and definitely not communicating optimally. But I am progressing towards the end of this round, which is good. You're good. Once again, I still put the blame on me. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. Now, sometimes this happens with your stitching. If you're not careful of your tension, it kind of starts to cup a little bit. Usually you can just flatten that out with your fingers and everything is fine. But if it keeps happening, it usually means you need to just loosen up your tension a little bit. You need to be a little bit less tense. Okay, so I'm almost to the end. Why am I singing? I have no idea. Because nobody really wants to hear me singing on stream ever in any capacity. That's Heather's job.
It is. I'm not doing it right now.
No, you're not. Because you're doing your actual job right now, I think.
I am.
Okay, so just for ease of everything, so my prototype I made horizontal. I'm going to make this one, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to make this one vertical, so north-south instead of east-west. That's a decision at this point completely motivated by time, but you can absolutely do, you know, whatever you want with your pieces. But I finished that round, so I finished my round, and then once again I just have to connect these, so I'm going to go down through the first bead in that. And I am using round and row synonymously in this project to mean the same thing, because each one of these circles around in the seed bead vernacular is technically a row. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to now do just a brief version of this little finish here. So I'm going to go with, okay, where is my center bottom? And things do tend to shift when you're doing this. So where I came out is not actually my center bottom. If I'm going to go straight down, I'm going to go with this bead right here. This one is my center bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave back to 2 beads prior to that, because I'm just going to do 5 beads that are centered on the bottom for my little finish. How you do that? Extremely easy. You're literally just going to go up and down and up. Ooh, and I got to go one more. Down. Okay, so I'm doing 7 instead of 5. Up. And then down. So all I'm doing right now literally is traveling my thread. Yes, you're doing a little bit of reinforcing, which is beneficial, but the only real reason for this is so I can get to this point where I want to start my little bottom finish. Okay, so now I'm theoretically 3 beads off of center, so I'm going to do these 3, there's my center, and I'm going to do those 3, and this, by the way, is still my beginning thread, which I can at this point really just cut off. So I'm going to grab my 4mm crystals, and I'm just going to need 7 of those. And I'm going to grab my size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to need 7 of those. Aha, and there are some loose ones. Okay, so this is super, super easy. All right, all I'm going to do is grab a crystal and a size 11 seed bead on my needle in that order. Okay, so crystal, size 11 seed bead. Pull them up to sit against your outside row. And once again, You can continue making rows and rows and rows and rows as much as you want. You don't have to stop at, 4 like I did. Once again, that's strictly because of time. Now I'm going to skip my seed bead, and I'm just going to go back up through my crystal and the bead that it's next to. I'm going to pull tight, and there you go. That's your little end bit. And if you just sort of manipulate that size 11, it'll go, come on, you go. Yeah, it'll sit nice and straight out at the bottom. And then we're just going to go down through the next bead. And again, a crystal, a size 11 seed bead, which are hiding under my nail. Get out of there, you guys. There we go. And then again, pull it up. Yay, Sophia, that's awesome. Awesome is what I meant. Pull it up against that bead and then skip the seed bead. Okay, don't go back through the seed bead or everything's going to fall off. And go back up through the crystal and the bead it's sitting next to. And then down through the next bead in line. So now we just continue until we've added all 7 of our crystals. Now, do you have to stop at 7? Of course you don't have to stop at 7. You can do this all the way around. The abbreviated version of this is literally only because of time. So feel free, in your own work and fun and play and whatnot to, to embellish as much as you want. Another fun thing you can do, and I'll do this because this is the center one, is you can do what's called a picot as you're finished. So if you're going to do that, I've got my crystal, and I'm going to string on 3 seed beads. 1, 2, 3. Like so. Pull that up. And then once again, skip the seed beads and go back up that crystal and the seed bead next to it. And then you pull, and your seed beads make a cute little triangle. So you could theoretically do that on the end of each of these if you were so inclined. All right, now I'm going to just do my last 3. Let's see. Okay, crystal, size 11, and then up, and then down, like so, and then crystal, size 11, and up. Hey, Tony Terrier, Positively Crafty, nice to see y'all. There's a raid going on. This is not going to help me get onto the sales stream on time, but hi, y'all. Thank you, Positively Crafty, for the raid. It's nice to see all of y'all. This evening, we are running, yes, a wee bit late on our stream today because of technical difficulties and also the fact that I've been talking a lot. So we're at the tail end of this project. This is our brick stitch pendant. And so I went ahead and on my project for tonight, I switched the direction so that I could do a little bit more of an abbreviated finish. And so that's what I'm working on right now. So Positively Crafty, what were you doing on your stream tonight, and how did it go? Hopefully you had less technical difficulties than me. Why is it, seriously, and this is not just to Positively Crafty, but to everyone who uses a computer, why does the dang Windows update always decide to happen right before I go on stream? Why is that? And it just borks up everything, and you have to fix it all before you go on stream. Now, one could possibly say, well, Allison, maybe, just possibly, you should try, to start working on getting on stream sooner than, 10 minutes before you're supposed to be online. But to those people, I say, pish tosh, right? To piss everyone off, seriously. Hi, Batman, with lots and lots of numbers. Thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Ooh, awesome, ladder stitch wrap bracelet, way fun. Love that type of project. Super, super cool. And another actually variation on seed beading techniques, but not necessarily using seed beading, because the ladder stitch is a seed beading technique, and also is and I'm not trying to, like, if I'm wrong, Positively Crafty, please feel free to just be like, no, this is what it is. But absolutely, like, awesome. That's or baddie. Love that, because yes. Also, Heather, did you copy and paste that, or did you just remember that number?
Oh, no,
Oh, you just did the and yeah. See, that's the thing. You can, yes, that makes me feel so much better. You can do that in the chat, that you can't do that in real life. I will say once again, I've learned a lot this year about streaming and Twitch and everything, and not that I didn't have respect for streamers before this past 18 months, but I have. Even, of course, I feel like one always has more respect for the practiced in the craft. Once you start doing the craft, you're like, oh crap, this is even harder than I thought it was. But yeah, the recognizing and reading of handles semi-accurately that is a skill, y'all, and I don't always have it. I think I'm getting better, but stop it. I know, but just stop it. Heather's the numbers one. I'm the talky one.
That's why we have a team.
That's why we have a team. But sometimes she's the talky one as well. But seriously, the reading of handles, it's a thing. It's a talent. And yes, yay for ladder stitch wrap bracelets. That is a whole lot of fun. So anybody on my stream who hasn't followed Positively Crafty, that would be one I think that you all would enjoy going back and watching, because it's a fun technique, and once again, it's going to get you a fun bracelet and stuff and things. Sorry, I started stitching and lost the ability to speak. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going down and up and down and up and down and up until I get to directly opposite this, which is going to be my top. That's where I'm going to make my hang loop. And I'm going to try really hard not to drown in my own snot before I get there. Oh wait, allergies suck balls. Just in case anybody had any, delusions about allergies being fun. I'm pretty sure there are no delusions in the world about allergies being an enjoyable experience, but good Lord. Also, part of my allergy craziness might be because I'm doing some work. I'm putting in a new little patio outside at my house, which I'm very excited about. I think it's going to be very fun when it's done. But of course, stirring up all kinds of mold and dust and gross stuff, all of which I am allergic to. So there's also that potential. Okay, so all right, so because of the way that this falls, my center top is actually in between this bead and this bead. So you're gonna find that sometimes, like on this one here, your center top is one particular bead, or sometimes it's gonna be two. So the main difference between 1 and 2 is if you've got one bead, you can make a loop that is just enough sideways that you can just string a cord through it and you'll have a necklace. But if your center top is between two beads, you're definitely going to wind up with a loop that is horizontal. That's definitely, you're going to have to just put a jump ring or something through it in order to hang your piece. When my loop's going to be horizontal like that, like I know I'm going to have to put a jump ring on it, I usually tend to concentrate on two things. Number one, I want to make sure to use an even number of... Amanda, hi! There's Amanda on the stream. She's probably like, the sale's starting so early. Oh no, no, no. The tutorial stream is actually still going because I started late because of technical difficulties, and then we got a raid on Twitch. Woo! So we've got to meet exciting new people, which is fantastic. So also I've just been talking a lot tonight. So there's that. So when I'm doing a horizontal loop, meaning a loop that's in the same horizontal is actually really not applicable in this case, but a loop that's in the same plane as my pendant, meaning that I need to put another loop or a jump ring through it in order to thread it onto a cord or a chain and get it to hang properly. Two things, well, thanks, Amanda. Two things that I tend to focus on. I want to make sure I use an even number of beads for that loop, because that's going to give a jump ring a logical place to sit. If you use an odd number, it's going to kind of want to hang to one side or the other. Number two, I tend to use a smaller number of beads. This is only 6 beads, whereas the loop on my prototype that's not going to need an auxiliary ring is 12 beads. So all I'm going to do with my 6 beads is I'm coming up through this bead. I'm going to go down through the bead next to it and pull it tight, and there you go. So that's a perfect little loop you can put a jump ring through. And just for reinforcement, I'm going to retrace that path again. So I'm going to go up through that bead, and I'm going to go through all 6 of these beads. And then, nope, all 6 I said, not 5, all 6. Awesome. And then down through that bead, pull. Usually twice is fine. If you're super paranoid, you can go through a 3rd time. And then what I'm going to do is just weave all the way back around until I reach the starting point for my accent. So I'm just going to continue the up and down, she says, while failing to do that. Up and down and up and down. And the key to tying this off securely isn't necessarily in tying knots. So this is something that one of my seed bead instructors told me, is as long as you make at least 2 circles, your thread is secure, and then you can just cut it off. So I'm planning to end it here, so I'm going to start here, a couple beads back from that, and I'm going to make a circle. So meaning that instead of continuing to progress forward, I'm going to go back on myself, and I'm just going to go down and up, and then I'm going to go to my next one, down and up, and then I'm going to make another one. So then I'm going to go backwards, okay? So my direction of travel is this way, and so to make my circle, I'm just going back to the previous bead, and I'm going down and up. And if you want to be really secure, you can do another one, down, and you can even, ooh, no, that's not cool. Nobody likes it when you do that. Stop being pain. Okay, what happened is I wasn't paying attention. I accidentally hooked my thread around, so that's okay. And then I can, even if I want to, make a circle right here in between my 2 circles. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go up and down, up, and down. And now I can literally just cut this thread off, and I can be assured that it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to take my snips, I'm going to trim that off, and I'm going to go back to my beginning thread, and I can do the same thing with that, because I've done so much round and round with it that it's not going to come off either. And that is my brick stitch pendant. We did it! Yay! So, alright, so 30 minutes late, we have finally ended our stream. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us here on the Beading Dream stream and making this brick stitch pendant. So for anybody out there who doesn't know me, I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. We are an actual brick and mortar retail bead store. That means we do have actual physical premises here on Lover's Lane in Dallas, and we are here open for business to feed your need to bead 6 days a week. We're here Monday through Saturday, 1 to 6. If you're not local in Dallas, you can find us on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream. Awesome, Lori, with fun projects like our brick stitch pendant. But we do all kinds of things on the Beading Dream stream. We do fabrication every Thursday night. We do a torch or a fabrication class. We do lots of wire work. We do some fiber crafts. So even if seed beads aren't your thing, you can definitely check out all of our replays. These absolutely could be earrings too, Lori, 100%. You might want to scale them down a little bit, but absolutely, that'd be fabulous. But yeah, so if you're new to the Beading Dream stream, please feel free to just, browse through some of our replays. You can see the range and the scope of things we do, because we do a lot of different things, mostly because I am easily bored and also, like to try and do everything. So we're here on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. We do stream Wednesday through Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time, because we are here in Dallas, Texas, Thursdays at noon, and then we do live merchandise sales every Wednesday and Saturday at theoretically 7:30. However, it's 7:30 now, so I'm going to get off of this stream. I'm going to go get all my stuff together for the sale. I'm going to finish closing the store, and I will probably be back with our Wednesday evening live merchandise sale around 7:45 or 7:50. So that means anybody who's planning on hanging out for the sale, you got about 20 minutes to grab yourself a cocktail, grab yourself some hydration, maybe grab a snack, get comfy, get cozy, and get ready for some bead retail therapy right in the comfort of your living room, office, or wherever you are enjoying the Beading Dreams stream. So everyone have a great 20 minutes. Hopefully I will see each and every one of you, including new people. Please come back in 20 minutes, because the sales are really fun. They're kooky, they're wacky, they're definitely goofy. I promise that it's going to be an interesting experience. Hopefully it will be a pleasant, interesting experience for all of you. So new peeps, come on back in 20 minutes or so for the live merchandise sale. If I'm not going to see you on the live merchandise sale, don't forget that we are back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, with another complimentary tutorial tomorrow at noon. That's our Thursday noon stream. That's going to be this one. This is a wire tutorial. This is our hinge top hammered bracelet. All right, a pretty simple design, and go on. Yes, a pretty simple design that's going to be pretty fun, that we're going to be doing tomorrow at noon Central Time. So if we're not going to see you, for the sale, then hopefully we'll see you tomorrow at noon or on another stream really soon. So Heather and I have lots of work to do in a really big hurry, so we're going to go do it, and we will see you all back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, in just 20 minutes for our live sale.